Hi, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody had a great and fantastic week. Today's topic is about communication and being self aware when we are communicating. I figured this was such an important topic because I know for myself in this last week, I went through something that was like, or this last few weeks, I went through something that I felt like, what does this mean? So, just to give you a backstory, I grew up with my stepdad. My stepdad is pretty much my hero. That's my dad. My biological father was kind of like the villain in my story. He wasn't like the best um, role model, I guess you would say. I'm not too fond of him. So, his whole side of the family was never really in my life. I received a phone call a few weeks ago from a cousin on that side of the family that wanted to invite me to a family reunion. And I felt weirded out because they were never in my life. So I was like, why are you calling me? And he just genuinely wanted to invite me to the party. And he genuinely wanted me to be there. And he genuinely wanted everybody together. And I understood his intention. I understood, like, okay, he wanted to be good about it. He wanted to be kind. He wanted to be inviting. You know, he wasn't trying to be malicious. He didn't say anything mean to me. But throughout the conversation, there were things that he said that made me feel like, I will curse you out. But it's not because he was trying to offend me. It was because things that he was saying was hitting the thorns in my heart that still burdened me and still hurt me from my past. You know, I'll give you an example of something he said. He said, oh, so, you know, you don't really talk to anybody on our side of the family. I said, no. He goes, oh, yeah, because you're just separate. And I was kind of, and he was talking to me in Spanish, so it doesn't sound as like weird as it does in English, but he wasn't trying to be mean. He was just saying like, oh, you were never really there, like you're kind of separated. And in my head, I was like, what? Like, excuse me? When did it become the little girl's job in the story to stay in contact with grown people? But I didn't say that because I understood he didn't know my story. He doesn't know the thorns in my heart. He doesn't know my traumas. He doesn't know any of that. He literally is genuinely just trying to have a casual conversation and invite me to a family reunion. So, I share this story with you just to say that we should be self aware of the thorns that are still in our heart that bleed, that hurt us, that the traumas and the things that we haven't gotten over. And I want to remind everybody that sometimes when people are having casual conversations, they're really not trying to offend you. They're genuinely trying to have a real conversation with you, but they don't know your story, and they don't know your triggers, and they don't know your traumas, and they don't know what hurts you, and they don't know how sensitive you are. They don't know. People don't know. People are just trying to be cool, cordial, and they don't know. And I'm not here to say that you should tell people, I don't like when people do this when they talk to me, so I'm going to tell them you can't do that because it reminds me of my past. No, I'm not giving you a license to do that. I'm here to say that when you become self-aware and you start to notice these things, sometimes conversations come up. And I always feel like sometimes it's the universe pretty much saying, oh, you forgot to heal this part. Ding! And then like something comes up and it touches your thorn. Doop! And you're like, oh. What was that? Oh, something ain't right in here. And it's for you to reflect. It's for you to be able to notice what you need to heal. Because you were meant to heal. And I know I made a video about healing physically, but we need to talk about emotional health. Because in our communications, in our dealings with people, in our dealings with family, friends, our pets, ourselves, our emotional wounds seriously mess things up. Like, we get lost because we don't listen to people, but we also lose ourselves when we don't realize the burdens that are still in our heart. And I want to share with you because I realized this, and I said to myself, I know I can't be the only one going through this. I can't be the only one. So I figured I'd make a video about it. What I did is I called my mentor and I called my best friend and we had a reunion. Like I needed people to support me because when we had that conversation, he was genuinely trying to invite me to a party, but what he did was he touched a thorn in my heart. And I thought that I was over a lot of this stuff. And I realize now that I wasn't. I realize now that I really wasn't. And I had to talk about it with my mentor and my friend. And I had to cry about it. And I cried and I shared my story, and I never really talked about in detail about that part of my life. And I I wrote about it. I did yoga. I burned the paper, like the stuff that I wrote down, and we literally started a bonfire and we burned it. Like we prayed about it. We just came together, and they listened to me and they were there. And my whole point is to say that when somebody touches one of your thorns and you notice it, don't withdraw. Don't react. Remember that they don't know your story. People generally don't know you. And take it and look at it as an opportunity for you to heal something inside of you. Because the way that we walk through life, when we don't heal those burdens, it reflects in our relationships. And it stops you from loving yourself. And it stops you from loving other people. And it stops you from being amazing and wonderful. And it stops you from being your best self. And it's not to say that you're not amazing and wonderful now, but you could be a lot better if you would just go in there and do the work. Like, face the stuff that's hurt you. And I'm not saying that it's easy, but I'm saying that it's worth it. When you really go through these things, when you really face the stuff that hurt you in your past, it really does make you better, and it helps you have more sympathy and compassion, and it just all around makes you a stronger person. And I said this in the past, and I will stand by this. You cannot love yourself. You cannot love who you are as you are if you don't appreciate the process that it took to make you. I didn't come to be this person. I could be better, but I love who I am. I didn't come to be this person by growing up in a wholesome household. No, I wasn't a wholesome kid. I grew up, like, it was rough when I was younger. We were struggling, and my biological father was an alcoholic and really abusive, and I didn't grow up with my siblings. It was super dysfunctional. And I'm not sharing that for anybody to have, like, a sympathy, like, oh, her story. But just to say, like, yo, I'm here. I made it this far, and I'm amazing, and I know it. But I had to come to terms with the fact that things in my past just didn't, they made me angry. They didn't make me feel like I belonged here. They didn't make me feel valued. They didn't make me feel good. They didn't make me feel like, dang, you know, I was meant to be here, you know, and that's why I'm the way I am. No, I had to fight to have a positive mentality. I had to fight to have the lifestyle that I have, to prosper in the way that I've prospered, to find my spirituality. I didn't grow up in a spiritual household. I didn't grow up having trustworthy friend. Like, I didn't grow up with, like, you know, the standard, like, people expect you to have the white picket fence and the dog and a cat and then a sibling, and then you have your, you know, no, I didn't have that. I didn't have none of that. So I found myself a lot of times while I was going through the process of healing, you know, other aspects of my life, is coming to terms that the people who were involved with everything really were trying their best. And I just want to remind you that nobody's perfect. And as you're healing, you're going to acknowledge the people that took part in whatever situation that you went through. And I just want to remind you, nobody's perfect. And people are literally trying their best. Like, people are messed up, but they're literally trying to the best of their knowledge. Like, people are just, you know, all over. Like, my dad, I don't really think that he thinks he's wrong. I genuinely think he thinks he's okay. And I don't know, but I can't judge him for the path that he's walking. That's his journey. But my journey is not to consistently suffer from the stuff that happened in his journey. My journey is to walk my journey, and I want to give that to you, is that your journey is your journey, and the people who hurt you, their junk shouldn't stop you from living your journey. Shouldn't stop you from walking your path. It shouldn't stop you from healing. It shouldn't stop you. Like, you owe that to yourself to heal. And we need emotional stability, and we need emotional awareness, and we need to communicate better with people and genuinely love ourselves and love people. And it all starts with you healing yourself. So let's take a moment this week to reflect and to remember that communication is so key, and remembering where we stand when we're communicating, and remembering people don't know our story, so they might not be trying to offend us. They might genuinely trying to be just casual, having a good conversation. I hope you guys have a great and fantastic week. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Bye, y'all.